There's
Lucky.
that until like end of the trimester.
What's
Never
that?
put two and two together, like when people are related.
I think I might have asked her that already. Maybe was she in last try? Were you in third last try?
I
Yeah.
was in first hour.
Oh, okay. Jacob Wallace and before are in the house. Danielle.
Hi.
You gonna comment on everybody in the meeting?
I haven't seen Danielle in a while. Miss Danielle.
Yeah, I usually have study skills meetings at this time.
Oh.
Yeah, I told Miss Byers about it.
I'll have to have a chat with her. No, just kidding.
All right, folks, let's get right into it here. Everybody can hear me, yes? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So here's what we got going on today. As much as I'm sure you'd love to hear Mr. Winters and I just banter back and forth today, we do have to get into some content here. So today is December 15th, and you are going to see a couple new due dates available on Schoology when we get to Schoology. So here are the things we're going to work on today. We're going to intro some new terms dealing with the American Civil War. You are going to see me fully geek out regarding the American Civil War because it is kind of my jam. Okay? It's not necessarily like my expertise, but it is something that I'm very passionate about, and I love lecturing about it. So maybe later this week you will see I'll be lecturing one half of a larger lecture and then another one next week. So there will be multiple lectures about the American Civil War because I am such a geek about it. So we'll do that. I'm going to give a brief intro today. It's going to go like maybe 5 minutes. It's just to kind of get you thinking about the American Civil War. I'm going to teach you how to flip grid if you haven't done that already. Those of you that had me last trimester know how that works. Oh, and this is wrong. This is supposed to be 11:30. So I will be on this call. This Google Meet will stay open until 11:30. I'm not going to require that you guys stay on the entire time, but it is going to be available for you to check or come back on and go, hey, Mr. Pieper, I have a question about this, or hey, I can't get my Flipgrid to work, or I don't know exactly how this thing works, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be here for you until 11:30. I'll be there for you like John Bon Jovi. No? Nothing? Mr. Winters, you got nothing?
Oh, I got it.
Play it. Come on.
I'm not gonna sing it or play it. You know what happens.
Wondering why we didn't have a video last week? It's because Mr. Winters played AC/DC in the background. And if you haven't been watching the news in the last, I don't know, 20 years, AC/DC does not like it that their music is, can be streamed. So
Oh
our
yeah, like
YouTube
copyright
video
striked.
got freaking blocked.
Oh,
our YouTube video, so I got that on my record. So thanks, Mr. Winters. Awesome.
Love it.
You're the worst. All right. So before I forget, and before I go off on some other tangent regarding YouTube and AC/DC, I want you all to understand this, okay? Now, I allowed a couple of you into this Google Meet today, and you weren't on your school Google account, and that's the last time that's going to happen, okay? Because as a part of this Google Meet, well, let me just say it this way. I need you to be on that school Google account for a couple of different reasons. Number one is I don't want to open this Google Meet up to anybody that isn't in our course. And that's for safety, for reasons that I don't really necessarily want to go full into right now. But just understand that if you try to get into this course and you're like accidentally logged in with your other Google account, okay, I'm not going to let you in from going forward. So make sure that you understand that you know your school login for your Google account, because you're going to need that going forward. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense, Mr. Winters? Why we have to do that?
Yeah.
We're good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I want everybody to go to Quizlet.live right now.
I'd love to play some music, but I can't.
Of course you would. Seriously. All right. So this is what your course looks like. You've got a Civil War term quiz coming up next week. So next week you will be taking that on the 22nd. I'm introducing the terms to you today, so you have a full week to study for it. Your Flipgrid response in the American Revolution is due next week, but you're going to have ample time to work on that today, as I previously noted. So here's your Revolutionary War folder, in which we will get to here in a moment, but not yet. But here's your new folder titled Division and Civil War. Under that, you will see a vocab folder and the Quizlet link. You don't need the Quizlet link right now, though, because you're going to Quizlet.live to plug in a code that I'm putting up on the board or up on the screen here. Okay, there is your code, folks. There's your code. How many people we got in the meet there, Mr. Winters?
16? 30.
16,
30
okay.
minus what?
Subtract 3.
27.
Okay, good, because there's you, and then I'm on there twice, because when I'm presenting, I'm on there twice. So 27 is what we're looking for. And on top of that, Google has just not had a good couple of days here. Have you noticed that?
Why?
Well, they had that outage yesterday, and I wasn't able to get my Google. I wasn't able to get like the recording of my Google Meet yesterday because there were so many outages, and it was just struggle. And I feel like Google is like this overstressed. You ever seen the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
No.
You've never seen that?
Nope.
Get your freaking life together and go see Falling Down starring Michael
movie.
Douglas. Yeah, the story of an overstressed worker that anyway that loses it, and I feel like that's what Google is right now. Google's about to lose it. Stretched, paper thin, overworked, all those things.
Well, we do
All right.
on Google.
Yep. All right. So we got 26. I'll give about 30 seconds to get one more player in here, and then we're going to start our Civil War terms.
If I knew how to play guitar, I'd pull that up here, but I don't. Go get a recorder.
You'd probably just mistakenly play like an AC/DC like chord or something. It'd get identified, and then I'd get blocked again.
Could play Hot Cross Buns on my wife's recorder. Should I go get that?
I bet.
Yes.
I bet you can't. I bet you can't.
I
Do
can.
it.
Okay.
Is Hot Cross Buns to a recorder like basically like Heart and Souls to a piano? Like everybody assumes that they're a play. They can play an instrument if they can play that one song.
Pretty much.
Okay, here we go. We'll start the game. Here are your spirit animals, folks. And there. Oh, we lost a couple. And they're racing.
you looking for? Mike, what are you looking for?
Mr. Winters, what are you looking for?
Because that song plays and they hear it. Isn't that weird? Couldn't find a recorder.
Oh, boogers.
Are you on the third try yet?
Nope, that was just the first.
Okay, here we go. I got something better though.
Oh,
Tell me
great.
when you're starting. I'm
And
gonna do.
there. Oh, we lost Justin. We lost Brooke. We'll give him 20 seconds to get back in.
You're gonna
You can
miss
plug
out.
in that code 896-495.
How's that?
Oh, man. I'm going to get YouTube blocked for copyright infringement on hot cross buns now. All right, here we go. And there, racing.
Okay, one more time.
Okay.
It's kind of loud in my ear. Still think a record.
You are a cartoon, Mr. Winters. All right, a lot of people making mistakes out there. That's a good thing. Get to know these terms. Your term quiz is coming up next week. Penguins and bison neck and neck. Ooh, Mustangs and Pumas trying to make a late move here. Oh, bison, what happened? Nice. All right, here we go. Last one. This one's for all the Tostitos. And they're racing.
Excuse me.
Oh, bison trying to make up for last time. Puffin's trailing by a length. Puma's not too far behind. So are unicorns.
Lose, they always win.
Oh, they're neck and neck with Puffins now. Oh, bison. What happened? Oh, boogers. Wowee. Well done. All right. Here we go, kids. I want All right, so we intro the new terms. We've got our brief intro on the Civil War coming up right now. So, there's a number of reasons why I love teaching the American Civil War. You know, when I was coaching college, immediately after I was in college, I was coaching with this guy from Georgia, and he had a very deep Southern accent. He was from Georgia, like I said, and he brought in one day and showed me his American history textbook from where he grew up. Now, this was in the 1960s, and this was in Georgia, but his textbook actually referred to the American Civil War as the War of Northern Aggression. I had to see it for myself. I could not believe it. They did not make one inkling in that entire textbook in calling it the American Civil War. And these are just a few different ways in which I've heard the American Civil War referred to. Okay. And although you might not see these types of names for the American Civil War in textbooks today, you will still see pockets of the United States still refer to it in a different way. Okay. Furthermore, if you were to go to a bookstore right now and you were to go into like Borders or Barnes and Noble and buy a tangible, like hard copy of a book, I challenge you to go to the history section and just take an inventory. Just, you don't have to pull out books or anything. Just take a look at what books happen to be about. In that American history section, I will guarantee you, you will see an entire stack of books about the American Civil War. You will see an entire stack, excuse me, about World War II. And why is that? Well, it's because we hold the American Civil War with pretty high regard. Whereas if you were to try to meander, if you were to try to find a book on World War I, you'd have a hard time doing it. You might find All Quiet on the Western Front. You might find a handful of others, but there will be rows and rows and rows of books about the American Civil War. Okay, because at the end of the American Civil War, I think that it's pretty hard to argue with the fact that at the end of the American Civil War, with 4.2 million slaves emancipated, that was a pretty good thing. You'd have a hard time arguing against it. Just like World War II. There's not too many people that look back at World War II as a bad thing, considering that it was a war against fascism, and people feel good about that. There wasn't that same good feeling at the end of other wars like World War I. Okay, so that's why we hold that war with high regard. And if you were to pull up a Google search right now and just Google how many days have there been since the American Civil War, it would be about somewhere in the 50,000s. Okay? There have been 50,000 plus days since the American Civil War. There have been about 60,000 books on the American Civil War, which means there's at least a book written. There's more books written about the American Civil War than there have been days since the American Civil War. And what's up with the Confederate flag? This is a ubiquitous symbol that I don't care what country you're in. If you show them this flag, they will know you're referring to the American Civil War. And this has been a controversy even this year in 2020. I remember you probably heard news about this just this last summer. We're going to talk about that. Okay. And then lastly, why do we try to make the causes of the Civil War more complex than what they are? Okay. We talked in U.S. History A about the fundamental cause of the American Civil War as being slavery. But why is it that people try to spin it about something else? Well, we're going to talk about that. Okay. So that is just a brief introduction as to what we are going to be talking about here, folks. Okay. What I want everybody to do right now is I want everybody to go to Schoology, and we're going to view this course as though we are Justin. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see this. Now, when you click on Revolutionary War, you're going to see that folder, Personalized Topics, that has the 2 links in there that you dealt with last week. Okay, which was the possible topics, and then what do you wonder? Those of you that submitted questions, these were awesome. You did an awesome job. I need to do a better job in getting feedback for everybody of these, but a lot of people were asking, hey, what did you think about this? And I was able to email back, here's how I might change that question a little bit. And we'll talk more about this as we go along here, but understand that your question can change as you start your research. That is fine, okay? This is about you wondering something genuine about the American Revolution and doing research that, answers your question, okay? So when you get to this Flipgrid link right here, okay, what you're going to do with that is you're going to click on that, and then it's going to open up a screen a little bit like this. It looks a little bit different on the iPad than what it looks on the desktop, okay? So when you get to this part, then there's going to be a little box down here on your iPad. It's like a little box with an arrow, and you click that, and then it goes open in Safari. Do that. So you click on this link, you click on open in Safari, and then the next window will look a little bit like this. You're going to want to log in with your school Google account. Once you've done that, then it will actually open it up in the Flipgrid app. Okay, so understand this. If you just try to do this by going straight to the Flipgrid app, it's not going to work. You've got to go through Schoology to do that, because then it's linked with the actual question. So once you've done that, it's going to bring you to something that's going to look a little something like this. Now, pay attention to this part, folks. You are going to research and respond to an open-ended, personalized question about the American Revolution that you wonder about. This is your opportunity to pick something that you want to learn. If you're really into bayonets and muskets, this is your opportunity to research something that has to do with that. If you're really in, like, you remember the list, there's a litany of things on there that you could be choosing, okay? So number one, you're going to tell me the question you chose. Okay, the more specific, the better. Okay, so don't ask a question that you don't necessarily want to know about. Like, don't tell, if you don't want to know about the pros and cons of why the British retreated at whatever battle, okay, if that's not something you're genuinely interested in, okay, pick something that you are genuinely interested in. Okay, tell me why you selected it. Then 3, tell me what answers and conclusions you came to. Does it have to be a black and white yes or no answer, or you're coming up with a conclusion that is what you set out to do? No, that's not how research works. Sometimes you don't come up with a conclusion that is black and white. Sometimes it's like a shade of gray. Oftentimes it's a shade of gray. Oftentimes it's more complex. And what you're going to do in that Flipgrid response is you're going to tell me what complex answers you came up with. You're going to tell me both sides of the story. You're going to tell me all the different, you don't have to go into every source that you read, but you're going to tell me the different things that you learned about. Okay, and you've only got a minute and a half for that Flipgrid response. Okay, some of the Flipgrid responses that I'm seeing for my other hours, I can already tell you're short on details if you're only listing details for about 20 seconds. Okay, should be a minimum of a minute on there, I think. Okay, if you're telling me everything you learned about that topic that you genuinely wondered about. Does that make sense, Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Okay, what I would like to do now is this. I am going to be right here. I am going to be here to help you with anything that you have a question about. Okay. Those of you that already had me in class and you know how this Flipgrid thing works, and you're like, all right, Mr. Pieper, I got it. I can go, and I'm just gonna do my thing. Perfect. Okay, you can do that. If you are like, hey, I might need a little help here, then stick around and I'll answer any questions that you might have. Next week, I'm going to show you how to get your Flipgrid feedback. Or excuse me, on Thursday, I'm going to show you how to access that Flipgrid feedback, because I'm assuming that you're already going to be turning those in by Thursday so that you can go on and you can see what that Flipgrid feedback looks like, or how to improve your response if you want to get full credit. Okay. I'm going to stop recording this.